Hey, what's up, guys? This is Carlos here from Team Breakthrough coming at you with a discussion video. This is some of the videos that we rarely do, but we feel like it helps you guys, and it kind of the little things that we can bring to you guys. The better for the community and stuff. So this video I want to talk about side decking. Now, side decking is one of those things that make a huge difference when winning events, winning matches, changing the outcome. Like many times, your deck maybe has a is the underdog against a bigger deck or a better deck, and side deck can turn the whole matchup around. For example, we're gonna talk about side decking, but more about like how to build one, and rather than actually siding. Now, when you're building a side deck, first it's very important for you to acknowledge what tier is your deck in, right? For example, I want to talk about my personal experience. I've been playing Cosmos for over 9 months, right? And so for the most part, Cosmos were tier 1 for a good while. Then they became tier 1.5. Now they're almost tier 2. So what happens now is you have to acknowledge where your deck stands, because that means that's gonna define how hard of a matchup or how hard of a fight you're gonna have during an event at a regional, YCS, or whatever, right? So for example, a tier 1 deck will have less hard matchups than a tier 2 deck, right? So let's say, for example, we're siding with a tier 1 deck, right? Now, a tier 1 deck, usually what this means is that it can easily beat every other deck except 1 or 2, right? It has 1 or 2 matchups that are really hard. So when you build in a side deck, right, the side deck has to have several parts. Part 1, after you acknowledge what tier your deck is in, then you gotta acknowledge your worst matchups, right? For example, again, if we were talking in the Cosmo thing, but this is just as an example, so I can get more into detail. For example, Cosmos, the worst matchup for Cosmos were like BAs and Pendulums, right? At a time, right? Also, you can say Evil Storms were a really bad matchup, but Evil Storms are not that relevant. So you're not gonna waste the space on your side deck siding for Evil Storms, because although it is a really bad matchup for you, but it's not really that relevant. So you have to acknowledge who's your worst matchup and how relevant they are, right? Once you come to that conclusion, then you are free to side against the worst two matchup, your worst two matchups that are really relevant. For example, in this case, BA and Pendulum was for Cosmos, right? So you technically want to have two type of sides for one matchup. One side when you're going first, and one side when you're going second. If you are able to side cards that can help you in both scenarios, that's even better, because then that expands your range of the side deck, right? 15 card decks, 15 card side deck. We all know sometimes it can kind of be when the format like right now, as I make this video, is really diverse. It's really hard to side to a specific deck. But for example, when Pepe was a thing, Cosmos can side or even main cards that was specifically for that matchup, and Monarchs, right, at the time too, because Monarchs was another hard matchup too at the time, especially with Stoneford. But that's another video. And so what happens here is you acknowledge how relevant they are, and then you build first for the best deck. When I was running Cosmos and Pepe was the best deck, then I would dedicate a really good portion of my side deck for Pepe, from a range from 5 to 8 cards of my side deck for Pepe, and some of those side decks can also be used for Monarchs. Like I said, if you can find cards that have multiple use, that's even better. For example, cards like Anti-Spell. Anti-Spell was amazing. It shuts down whole Pepe or just any Pendulum deck. But also it can like when not Cosmos, when Monarchs were at the prime, it slowed them down a lot too, because they rely a lot on spells. So those 3 cards, right? You will side 3 into spell, and so those 3 cards you can either use them against what's it called, Pepe or Monarchs, right? This is just an example. Now it's really hard to cite. Like I'm not really using decks of now because, like I said, the format just got really diverse. So it's really when the format is so diverse, it's really hard for you to cite for a specific deck. Okay, and so you first look for cards that are useful in both matchups, right? Once you find out the cards that you want to side out that can help you in both matchups, then you go for specific. Like for example, cards like Mask of Restrict. Mask of Restrict only hurt Monarchs, but did not help what's it called, Pepe, right? So you want to side those cards at a lower ratio. Ratios are a huge thing too. For example, you would side an anti-spell at 3, but you wouldn't side the Master Restrict at 3 because that would take a lot of your space. Of course, it's personal preference most of the time, but since Pepe was the better deck at the time, then you would want to use more side decks against Pepe than you did to Monarchs. And so this whole thing creates like your side deck really complete. The reason why I'm speaking of this is because for a really good time, I had a problem myself, which was that I would side the exact same side whether I was going first or second. And I recently kind of learned how to side when going first and going second. If you side the same way as if you were going first or second, you're probably gonna lose that game because, for example, when you go first, you want to side traps, right? If you go second, you want to side traps because usually if you go second, it's an uphill battle. Although you do draw one extra card, but you have to deal with an established board, and you don't want to open with traps because traps can be other cards that can help you break a board, if that makes sense. So, for example, again, when I was going against against Pepe, I was setting 3 into spell, 3 Ghost Ogre, and that's 6 cards, and probably maybe at the time it would have been what's it called, a Skill Drain, or what's it called, that's a card, Kaiser Coliseum, right? I would dedicate 8 of my 15 cards to Pepe, and then for Monarchs it would be like either 3 or 2 Master Restricts, and other cards like I don't know, I want to say like Bottomless or other cards, other cards. Maybe sometimes Bottomless can be a main, but it really depends the cards that you choose. The cards you choose are your choice, but you have to see how relevant they are. And once you figure, okay, like for example in this scenario, we already built the side deck to counter Pepe and Monarchs. Then you have to see how bad the cards that you're siding hurt you, right? For the most part, you want the card to hurt most of the time just your opponent and hurt you as little as possible. For example, anti-spell could sometimes hurt Cosmos, but it wasn't really that relevant, right? For the most part, it hurt more. It hurt Pendulums more or Monarchs more than it did to Cosmos. But you wouldn't side something like Soul Drain or Microcosmos against a deck like VA, because although they do get hurt, but so do you because of your monsters. If your monsters go to graveyard, they'll get banished, right? Although you have cards like Cosmotons that allow you to get it back, but it's not as smooth as you would like it to be. Against VA, for example, you will siding cards like Flying Sea, which hurt them 100% and doesn't hurt you at all. So for the most part, you want to minimize the amount of damage that your own side cards can do to you, because you never want to lock yourself out. For the most part, you just want to lock your opponent out or turn that bad matchup to your advantage, right? So I don't know if you guys understand where I'm coming from. If you guys have any questions, if I didn't explain myself well enough, you guys can comment this in the section below, and then we can have a discussion there. But yeah, like basically why I made this video is because there's different ways of siding and things to acknowledge when you're siding. And again, just a little recap. When siding, you want to acknowledge what tier your deck is in, who are your deck's worst matchup, and how relevant they are. Then you go to choosing the cards. Now you choose the cards for those matchups, and then you play with the ratios. Ratios are really important. You want to divide your side deck on going first or second. For example, you wouldn't side in anti-spell going second because they're probably already set up. You're siding cards like Ghost Ogre that would help you interrupt their plays on their first turn, if that makes sense. So you gotta be aware of that too. Also, don't side the same way all the time. Like what I mean by this is like what I used to do. You know, side the same way you could go first or second. You gotta have a side when you go first or second. And then after you become your side, you complete your side deck, you choose your choices. You gotta do one last step and see how much this side deck cards hurt you. You want to minimize the amount of damage the amount of damage your own side deck cards can do to you. You don't want to lock yourself out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this minute discussion video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys want to see more of this, or if we should completely just stop it. I don't know if I explained myself well enough. I hope that anything that I said here was of a help to you guys. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys later.